Hello, hello. Welcome to Your Fit Life Live. Today, we are talking all about how to track your food, and I will be giving you some of the tips to help you be most successful when it comes to tracking. And me personally, when I think about tracking my food, the goal is to get to a point where we have that freedom, we have that flexibility, that sustainability. And to me personally, I do not believe that tracking is something that is something that we should have to do every single day for the rest of our lives. I can't imagine being 75 years old and being like, oh, I have to track my food and make sure that I hit my protein goal today or so on. I think that tracking your food is very important to help bring awareness to the foods that you're eating every day. And it also helps bring awareness to how much food you are eating, how these foods are affecting you, and how you feel, and then being able to make those informed decisions on how to move forward. So those are some reasons why tracking is so important. However, it is not the end all be all, and it should not be something that you feel like you have to do every single day. So I'm going to dive in to our presentation today, our training today. So if you guys are joining me live, make sure to drop in the chat, say hello, and I am going to be sharing my screen. So give me just a moment as I get the presentation pulled up. I don't know where I saved it, so just one moment. So I had it up and I don't know where it went. Okay. This is what happens when you have so much stuff on your computer. And let's just go right here. Oh yeah, it's in my downloads because I haven't put it anywhere yet. Okay, so here we go. Now we are going to share our screen. Well, maybe. Gosh. Oh, share screen. It is right there. All right, this is what I would love for you guys to see today. So tips for, let's see, I hope you guys can see it. Let me get back over here. I don't know what you can see because there is a delay, but I'm hoping, okay, we are recording this. So let's make sure you guys can see this beautiful screen. All right, so tips for tracking. All right, we are just gonna dive right into this. So as I mentioned, food freedom and sustainability. I do not believe that you should have to track your food forever. I do believe that it is such an amazing tool in the beginning of your journey, or if you have body composition goals. So let's say you have specific goals when it comes to, losing a certain amount of weight, or you want to be able to build some muscle, you may need to track food. If you're, I would say probably not the majority of you here are looking to go compete, but especially if you are competing, this really can help you dial in your body fat your body fat and reach those composition goals. So there may be times where it is important to track your goals or, track in order to reach those body composition goals. So as I mentioned, it is not the end all be all to tracking. So today we are more so talking about the benefits of tracking. So benefits of tracking. So this helps you be more efficient with those end results, right? It helps you determine sorry, I just got distracted. Okay, so it helps you identify patterns. It helps you be more consistent with your diet and your exercise routine. It can help you identify patterns in your behavior that may be contributing to weight loss or hindering your progress. So that's why I think it is so important to really just bring that awareness. Tracking can help with accountability. So this helps you determine your eating patterns. It really helps you determine, are you eating enough for your activity level? And you can see these things based on the progress that you are making or may not be making by the choices that you are tracking each day when it comes to staying on track with your goals. I love it. It gives us evidence. It gives us numbers. This is a great way to just track and be more specific with, is this helping me? It's providing numbers. It is providing data to make sure, we are staying on track instead of just guessing. And guessing is there is an approach, because we do have some clients who do prefer not to track, as maybe they had an eating disorder in the past, maybe they have an emotional tie when it comes to tracking their foods that is triggering to them. So we can do this without tracking our foods. However, tracking takes out that guesswork. It really helps us have that data that we need to indicate what is working and what is not working. Also, it can help with a more personalized approach, right? Everyone's body responds a little bit differently. So tracking helps empower those individuals to tailor what is working for them versus what is not working for them. So I think that's important. It helps you take ownership. It helps you take control over your results. And it helps you make those decisions based on like what is working and what isn't working. Intentionally aware of the choices we make every day and what we put in our bodies. I think this is huge. As I started mentioning in the beginning, if we're tracking the foods that we're eating, we can become more aware of how those foods make us feel. Do they make us feel sluggish? Do we have more energy after eating specific foods? Maybe it helps bring awareness to a food sensitivity or allergy that you may not have been aware of, but you realize a specific pattern. It also really helps you understand what your body physically needs. So are you low on energy every day? Maybe you're not eating enough calories. Constipation. Maybe you're not getting enough fiber in your diet, and you can see that by tracking your foods. We recommend getting 25 grams of fiber in every day. Has your weight loss stalled? Have you hit a plateau? And if that is the case, maybe you've been eating in a calorie deficit for too long. So maybe we need to do a reverse diet. Maybe we need to take some different tools and maybe do a little bit of carb cycling. So there are so many different routes and avenues that we can take based on the data that we are seeing every day by tracking your foods. Maybe you're not getting enough protein intake in each day. Hormonal issues. What type of fat are you eating? Are you eating, foods that are not supporting your hormones? Do we need to take a more anti-inflammatory approach with the foods you're eating? So these are a lot of things that we can really determine just by tracking your foods. Sluggish and brain fog. Maybe certain carbs, maybe this is certain carbs that you ate. So once again, you can start relying on patterns. You can start seeing how specific foods make you feel throughout the day. So these are just some benefits. And I wanted to really, really highlight the importance of tracking. It is not the end all be all. The main goal is that awareness, understanding your body, and getting to a point where you know how to eat properly for your body, for your body type, and how you feel, so that you don't have to track foods for the rest of your life. But you can't change what you are not monitoring. So just know that you can get results without tracking your foods. However, there's a lot more guesswork that goes into play. If we are monitoring things, if we are tracking every single day, then we can figure out what works best for you. So it helps us take a more individual approach. All right. So here is what you guys all came here for. This is your tips for successful tracking. So first and foremost, this is probably the number one thing that we tell every single one of our clients, is to plan each of your meals beforehand. So if you can track your meals before, like the night before, this is going to be very beneficial. And let's say, we just start with figuring out what some of your staple foods are. So for example, let's say you you have about 3 different breakfasts that you eat on a daily or on a regular basis. If you plug those into MyFitnessPal, you can save them as a meal. That way, this makes this short and sweet and very effortless to add foods into your MyFitnessPal. So I'm talking about MyFitnessPal. That is the tracker that we use with our clients. Super easy. You can get the free version, so you do not have to pay for it. And you can get a good idea of how many calories you're eating every single day and see, your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. So that's the main thing that we're looking at: carbs, fats, proteins, and of course, making sure you get your 25 grams of fiber in per day. So planning ahead is going to be crucial. But first, I guess, let me kind of take you back for a moment. I mentioned tracking foods to bring awareness. So if you are like, I have no idea how much food I should be eating, something that we suggest is, when you first get started, is just to start tracking your foods, all your foods and all of your drinks that have calories in them, and seeing your trends. This helps bring that awareness. So don't change a single thing. And for the next 7 days, track how you eat, track everything you eat and drink, so you can see, how am I responding to food? Do I have low energy? How am I, just, you don't have to take notes or, like journal about this, but just keep some mental notes on how you're feeling. Maybe you're not eating enough throughout the day. Maybe you're not getting enough protein. And then you can take that first 7 days of data and from there figure out your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. So at the end of this, I will share with you my flexible dieting guide. I think that is such a great tool to really help you just start tracking your food, figure out where you need to be as far as like, what are your goals? Do we need to be in, what is my maintenance goal? And then from there, my personal goal is to lose weight. So then I need to obviously be in a calorie deficit. So this guide is amazing, and it kind of helps break things down for you on, what you should be eating. But first and foremost, start tracking to bring that awareness to yourself every single day. All right, some other tools for successful tracking. Invest in a kitchen scale. I should have this on here, a digital kitchen scale. As this takes that guesswork out of it completely. And eyeballing everything can be very dangerous and can lead to a very inaccurate, tracking in MyFitnessPal. You can use using a kitchen scale so that you can accurately input the weight into your tracker. You can purchase one on Amazon. They're anywhere from like $10 to $15. So very easy to purchase and not very expensive to be accurate. So even when you come off of tracking, so, as I mentioned in the beginning, the whole goal is to get to a point where you do not have to track your food every single day. So when you come off of tracking, I do still recommend using that kitchen scale because it can help you measure your protein goals, to make sure that you are being accurate and hitting that protein goal. Because as we've talked about in the past, protein is going to be your best friend when it comes to helping with your metabolism, losing weight, and keeping your basal metabolic rate as high as possible so you can eat more calories. So protein is going to be important. Use measuring spoons, cups for oils and healthy carbs. Do not eyeball these because these will also very likely, like eyeballing these, you can put way more on your food than you believe, or, than what you thought you were originally was the plan, right? So 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon, that can add up quickly. I use my digital food scale for a lot of oils as well. But measuring cups and spoons are a great option as well. Now, this is important when it comes to tracking. Ditch the shame mentality altogether. It's okay if you have a day where you do not 100% track everything or miss a day altogether. And I think what's important here is, especially if you have a coach, think about the fact, a lot of clients are afraid to, let's say you ate something that was off of your program. Just because you're embarrassed about eating that specific food doesn't mean you shouldn't track it. It's very important. There's no food shaming around. We do not food shame any of our clients. We just want you to, first of all, this is all about awareness, right? So it's important to understand the value of food, and just, if you eat it, make sure you track it. So, when it comes to missing a day, it's perfectly fine. I miss days here and there as well, and just get back on track the next day. That is all. So another thing that you can do is, if you are not pre-planning or, tracking your meals beforehand, make sure that after you eat them, you immediately put them into your tracker so that you don't forget about it. Because I've done that in the past too. I'm like, oh, I won't forget what I ate. And then you get at the end of your day and you're like, man, there's no way I've only had this many calories. So make sure, just get into that good habit of tracking those foods right away. All right, so some psychological factors. So mindfulness and self-control. Tracking fosters mindfulness about your food choices, helping individuals become more attuned to hunger and fullness cues. So this increased awareness supports better self-control, and it reduces emotional eating. I think it's very important to, just practice that mindfulness. This is going to help you establish how much you should be eating, and it just helps bring that self-awareness. That's the most important thing. And then what I love is positive reinforcement. So think about, you're starting to track your foods, you're starting to become aware of the foods that make you feel good, and when you feel good, you want to make better choices, right? So it just kind of helps you celebrate those small victories. By celebrating those victories, it helps reinforce the positivity of what you're doing, and it helps you want to continue to do that. So it's very, very exciting when you can continue to hit those milestones and celebrate those small victories along the way. So I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, but by tracking your foods, this is going to help us break through plateaus and any setbacks that we may have. So understanding plateaus, these are going to be a natural part of weight loss journeys. You're going to get to a point where your weight loss stalls. And by tracking, this helps us identify any potential causes. Maybe you've been in a calorie deficit for too long, which is going to slow down your metabolism. Or, you've made changes in your activity level, which now we know your body has plateaued. This is a time to change some strategies to your protocol. Maybe we need to increase activity. Maybe we need to, do a calorie deficit. Maybe we need to go into some carb cycling techniques to really help you break through this plateau. So adapting strategies when facing these plateaus or setbacks, tracking helps you experiment with different approaches. So this is what I was talking about, maybe adjusting your calorie intake or varying your exercise routine. And then emotional resilience. Tracking progress and reflecting on a achievement can bolster emotional resilience during challenging times. It reminds you of your progress and motivates you to persevere. So just breaking through those plateaus, this helps you reflect on the positives that you have had along your journey, and just kind of comes back to this right here, that positive reinforcement. So very important to push through those days. All right, and last thing I wanted to really talk about here was tracking and your emotional state. So I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, where there are certain protocols we have had with clients in the past where we have not had them track. And yes, you can make progress without tracking. Just know that it is going to be a lot slower of a process. So if you do feel like tracking is causing a lot of emotional stress on you, make sure you're talking to somebody about this. If you're working with us, make sure you're talking to your coach and letting them know, like, this is causing these feelings. But I think it's also important to think about these stories that we're telling ourselves about tracking. Like, what is that actual trigger? Like, bringing awareness to that trigger can help us heal. And so I want you to think about this. So let's say you are in traffic and traffic just makes you angry. Well, this isn't something that we can necessarily avoid because we have to get to work. We have to get, from point A to point B. So what is it about traffic that makes you angry? It's the stories that we're telling ourselves. We can help by having that awareness, we can help heal instead of avoid. So what is it about tracking foods that is causing or triggering? Like, what is that story that we're telling, that you're telling yourself, that we're telling ourselves? And when it comes to tracking, think of it as this is data. This is just these are numbers. These things are, well, first of all, it is temporary. It's not something we are going to do forever. It helps bring awareness to what we are doing right now to help us break through a plateau or to understand how our body is responding to the foods that we're eating. So it is just strictly numbers and data. So what is that emotional trigger? What is that story we're telling ourselves? And by talking through it, generally we can figure this out. As I mentioned, we can definitely track, or we can still make progress without tracking if this is something that is maybe linked to an eating disorder from the past. Like, we definitely do not ever want to trigger a past emotional eating disorder. So make sure you're bringing that up with your coach or speaking to someone so that that doesn't lead you down the wrong path. And then last but not least, where can you track? So what devices or what apps can you find on your phone that are helpful for tracking? So these were just a few that I pulled up. As I mentioned, we use MyFitnessPal. So that's that first one, free app that super user friendly. You can scan some of your foods if they have a barcode, but with our philosophy, we want 20% of our foods or 80% of our foods coming from whole foods, right? So that's like foods with one ingredient or less. Those are your protein sources. So, your chicken, your salmon, your eggs, those kind of things. So those won't have a scan code, right? And then the other 20% of your foods is coming from soul foods. And those just might have a scan code. So you can scan those foods in. My Net Diary, Lose It, and My Plate. Those are just a few of the favorites that I've used in the past. But as I mentioned, we use MyFitnessPal. I love it. Super simple to use. And kind of coming back to summarize everything. Tracking is not the end goal here. Eating, like intuitive eating, and fueling your body according to how you feel, and nourishing your body. Like, I think having that understanding of fueling your body is the most important over tracking. Tracking just brings that awareness. It helps us break through plateaus, and it might help us if we're doing carb cycling or like changing up, having that diet variation every single, not every single day, but different times throughout the week is going to be beneficial. So this is just a tool. It is not something that we want our clients doing for years or every single day. This might be, tracking to bring some awareness, get to a point where we can intuitively eat. Then we hit a plateau. Maybe we pull back, we track again. So it is just a tool. It is just some data, and it helps bring awareness to the foods that are fueling your body and how these foods make you feel. And then, of course, learning from it and being able to take that and go take another, or go back into an intuitive approach. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. I hope that this was helpful for you guys, gave you some tips and some idea, like, first of all, the benefits of tracking and tips on how to track as well. I will be sharing with you. Actually, just drop in the comments if you would like access to our Fit Life or our flexible dieting guide. The flexible dieting guide is going to walk you through how to set up how many calories and macros you should be eating. But great rule of thumb, start tracking your foods for 7 days to really just build awareness and see where you're at. Are you under eating? What are some of your food triggers? Maybe maybe you're not eating enough food. Maybe you're not getting enough protein, and tracking is going to help bring that awareness. So thank you guys for joining me today. And I will see you next Monday for our next live training.